or some of the work that you did, and super impressed, man. Love it.
Cool. I appreciate it.
All right,
Yeah.
so let me bring in the show a little bit. So we just hit record. So this is the Shop Class Podcast. I'm Mr. G, your host, and tonight's guest is Todd Stogdell. Is that it?
Stogdell.
Stogdell, all right, and he's coming to us from Hawaii.
What's up?
All
Aloha.
right, and what a cool thing. So, and what he does is custom woodwork and custom paint, and he's a technician in paint. We're gonna get the lowdown on that. And then we got also a special guest is Chris Davis. Chris is from the Henry Ford Woodworking High School, and he also does, like woodworking and paint. It's basically paddle boards, but he's managed to bring high school kids to make celebrity products. So like they gift it to like celebrities and whatnot, and it's a pretty amazing thing. So. Yeah, and I'll just give a quick little. So this would be something that that Todd is working on.
Yeah. So the Tiki is my current project.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the skateboard in the middle, a guy did for me, but I painted the two Tikis on the sides.
Wow. So before we even get started on this, I ask all my guests the same question lately, which is, did you have shop class growing up?
Did I? I did. There was like, I took wood and metal shop in junior high and all that, but really didn't get into it. Most of it was just stuff that I learned through friends and stuff.
Gotcha.
And I'll be brutally honest, where I got my first certification was I got incarcerated, and they had an Autobody program. And so I went through the program instead of, sitting on a bunk inside a cell. I went and, got a part of the community program that we did CHP cars and fire trucks, working and painting on those. And I got a certificate, which got me into a shop, and that's what got me to where I'm at today.
No kidding. I've always just a quick story. My uncle was a corrections officer, and he used to explain to me that among the prisoners that would have a program that empowered them, the return rate was very low, and then among where they want to cut the programs, the return rate was very high. Because when I was a kid, I mean, this is a long time ago, I was doing a report on whether jails should have programs to train, the inmates. And it was from a financial point of view. They're like, yeah, why should we pay for college? But you see the return rate, or why should we pay for training? The return rate is high, and it's lower when you empower people, So I'm glad that you got a chance to do that, and it's counterintuitive, but they really should have training programs and empower the people to get on the right track and give them a chance, So
give them some kind of trade when you get out, right? And basically, I was just young and dumb and partying, doing a bunch of stupid stuff, right? So I just got in trouble doing that. So and I got tired, I got tired of it, so I put myself on a better path. But there's the people that are just repeated cycles and they just go in and out. But then the ones that don't, it sets you on a career. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and then I've been young and dumb. I just didn't get caught, and that was just luck. I mean, that could have happened to me too. I don't put myself in it. I think I just got lucky. Also, I should tell you that another shop teacher that's on here a lot, he's just going to be late tonight, is Matt Bloomquist. And he built houses and did a wood shop with prisoners. He was the shop teacher in a prison for, I think, maybe 10 years or something. I don't know. Do you know, Duke, how long Matt did that for? Okay.
No, I don't know how long he did it for, how long ago he did it. Maybe 6 years ago.
And he said it was one of the best experiences for teaching and whatnot. He had a good time. But anyway, just wanted to say that I think that's pretty amazing that you got to learn it in prison and you know, and empowered people. You know, that's an important thing.
Yeah.
I didn't have shop
totally
class
agree.
growing up, and you know, it took me forever to learn this stuff on my own. You know, but yeah, they really need to give people a chance to use their hands and their mind to you know, to learn a trade or to learn something creative. You know,
Yeah.
and that's why we have the Shop Class podcast. Try
I
and
didn't
get
have
these ideas together.
I didn't have shop class either. Actually, all the way through high school, college, master's degree, all I do is teach wood shop. One wood shop class and all that education. One.
Wow, no kidding. And now, how long you been teaching shop, Chris?
17 years.
Oh, me too. Yeah. And did you switch from another career?
Nope.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, and so you didn't have the training in the college, and then when you on the job?
Just from different jobs I had, and as soon as I got the job, then a lot of hours after school.
Gotcha.
A lot of trial and error, and I had a passion for it, so it didn't really feel like work staying after working on things. But yeah, it wasn't. I didn't learn it in the school system, that's for sure.
Right. Wild. All right, cool. So, Duke here teaches middle school shop class. He does robotics and I basically just STEM, just keep the kids, you know, busy, get them trying to do good stuff.
Exposure, just trying to expose them to different things: 3D printers, laser engravers, CNC routers, hand tools, all in a matter of 11 to 22 days.
Wow, it's so crazy how short your sessions are. So, all right, so going back to Todd here. So now these are amazing. So you do the woodwork on these as well, and then you also paint them.
So these ones I've got them and I refurbished them. If you dig down deeper in my IG, you can see some of the stuff. But now I'm getting into carving. So like the Tiki that you see up top, I painted a big sailfish for these guys that have a Tiki shop out here on my side of the island or north of us. And they wanted to paint it so it looks brighter and draws attention from people on the side of the road passing by to draw the tourists in. Because with the economy, it really tanked, right? So they're trying to bring the tourists back and everything. But anyways, he asked me if I would paint it, and I said, yeah. So when he's like, well, I'll pay you. And I says, no, you teach me how to carve a Tiki, and you'll teach me something that I'll be able to carry on for the rest of my life. So this is my first Tiki I've carved.
This is beautiful. I can't believe how big this is. I didn't realize when I was looking. I mean, that's massive, right? What's the width of that?
4.5 feet, maybe. It's about a 350-pound piece of wood.
Holy moly!
What kind of wood is it?
It's monkey pod.
What?
And the monkey pod wood, if you could see, the outer core is light as the inner core of the wood is darker. And the older the tree, the darker the wood becomes. And it gives it a lot of character. And the older the tree, the thinner the live part of the wood is. So this tree is actually on the younger side for how thick the live edge is. But it really gives it character. And when you can use that to influence your design, it really makes the Tiki come alive. That's what I like about monkey pod.
How many hours was that? And what's the learning curve on carving one of those?
To be honest, 10 hours. And I never really held a chainsaw before. I mean, I cut wood at my grandfather's house, just running it, cutting a couple pieces of wood. But the guy, he helped me. He showed me kind of on one side of the face how to start going. And then I did my side and then finished up what he had. And it was just he just walked me through it. And the thing is, he says, you're just natural. You understand what's going on. And he's all, I wish we had another sander or another person that can do what you do. So it was really cool. And I think a lot of it is the fundamentals of what I do on a day-to-day basis, knowing how the sand body filler and, what I'm trying to feel and what I'm trying to look for. And so that's how.
That was a good question, Chris. Go ahead.
Have you used any of the turbo planes?
No, and so what they're using, they chainsaw and rough cut. If you go back, you might find another one where it shows um the beginning ones. There's a picture. Um, no, go to another one. Anyways, you just rough cut it. They're rough cutting it out. But if they're going to use something, they'll plane down to that live edge to get closer down to the dark wood so that when they do their details, they only have to, dig in like quarter of an inch and they hit into that dark area. And then that brings their wood more alive, you could say. So I'm going to do a little bit of that to the top piece, the head piece. I got to do a bunch of designs, and we're going to take some of that material down, and then so I can dig into that and have better design.
It's beautiful. Is it what now? Someone asked you what kind of wood. I didn't hear. What kind of wood is that?
It's monkey pod. So it's grown in the tropics. It's really popular in Hawaii, and the tree looks like a big, huge mushroom. It grows and then it blooms out and comes down to the ground. But I mean, these bases of the trees can probably get almost 15 feet in diameter. They get really huge, and they're old. And a lot of it used to be really junk wood. Koa wood was the big popular wood out here, and then koa wood's kind of dissolved away to where it's diminished. You can't get it unless somebody's growing it or they have a tree that you can go harvest off their land. But the monkey pod, they said it was just a rubbish tree and they would just throw it away. But now it's created such a big buzz that it's the new koa.
Anybody make a surfboard out of it before?
I don't know about surfboards, but I made a table. I got a dining room table. And if he digs down in my Instagram, it's down in there. I made a whole table, and I went to a sawmill and the guys cut the boards, right? They cut slabs. And the guy needed car paint for his car. And so we worked out a deal. I gave him a big discount, and I went over there and he gave me a big discount on wood. About $900 worth of wood I got from him. So I made benches, and then I made a big high table because I wanted it to be high. And it's probably almost 8 feet long and about almost 3.5, 4 feet wide. But it's like crazy. It's just, and I cleared it, used automotive clear. It really came alive once you cleared it. But keep scrolling down, and it's down in there. I mean, you'll see a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And this is a tiki behind me that basically I painted and then I flaked. And that's a lot of other stuff that I like to do. I don't know if you guys can see it, but basically this is all paint huffers flakes. I'll put a base color and then I'll put the flakes over it, and then clear it and just keep moving down and doing that. And you can do anything with wood. And all this is all automotive paint.
Wow. So how do you this might sound, naive or whatever, but like, do you literally just put primer on the wood and then go from there?
Technically, no, I don't even prime it. I'll sand it. I'll get it finished down into 320. I mean, I leave the wood grain. I let it all sit there. I mean, if you really wanted to get in and make it like perfect, you could sand it and paint it, and do that whole thing. But I want it to look like it's still wood, right? There's still character.
Yeah. Okay.
And some of the tikis that if I come across, I would comb Craigslist and just start buying tikis from people, and then I'll refurbish them. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I got another tiki that's over here. Some other stuff, and I like just sanding them and redoing them. If the wood has nice quality, if it's monkey pod, I'll clear it. It just makes it come alive. If it doesn't have good quality, I'll hand paint it, and I'll just paint it with a paintbrush and car paint. Believe it or not, some stuff I'll airbrush, but mostly just hand paint it.
That's
Do you have
wild.
training videos or anything? I'm trying to think of a way I can get that type of paint on our skateboards, or like
Chris, let me
buy training videos, anything that you do on the side.
Chris, let me show them what you do here.
Yeah, let's see.
So
Stand up board.
yeah.
Cool.
What now? Which one should I look at? Like, he even got one ordered by Richard Branson. And imagine how empowering that is for the kids and whatnot. You know, they really have a good collaboration and whatnot.
How heavy is that?
The stand-up paddle boards are 30 pounds.
Oh. So what is it? So is it a foam deck and then you're putting like panel wood? It's a solid board?
No, it's hollow.
Hollow. Okay.
Hollow wood. And actually, I'm building a 12-year-old out in Hawaii. His IG's Mad Max. I'm building him a surfboard right now. Just a 12-year-old kid. He's out shredding waves every day. He seemed pretty cool. We're just gonna send him a board because I like seeing kids getting out and doing stuff, being active.
You got his Instagram, you said?
It's Mad Max something. I know I'm following him or he's following me.
So now I'm intrigued. So what do you do? How do you make the board hollow? Is it that it's filled with something?
Yeah, it's got a spine and ribs.
Okay.
It's just, so like a skeleton shell.
Okay.
And you do the deck and the bottom, and then you add the rails, fiberglass, Venet.
Do you have a making video, Chris?
No.
You don't want to give away the secrets.
So have you like, I mean, you can do all
tips.
kinds of stuff with resin too. You can integrate, you can put flakes, you can put layers, you can do a lot of stuff with what you're doing, you know, and with painting and stuff too.
So what he said, like, don't want to give away the secrets. It's not that. It's that I get a lot of tips from some of the top board builders because I'm a teacher and I'm not competing with them. Kind of like one of those things like I'll share with you for you to share with the kids, but don't share it with the world because this is how I feed my family type thing.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, don't give it to the big corporation. I understand what you're saying.
Right. So,
you know, a funny story I'll tell you about when I was growing up. Tokoro boards. They're pretty popular. You'll see them around the world. But I went to high school with one of the brothers, and I bought his brother's first generation boards. It was called Fluid Design or Fluid Boards. And then I left from Hawaii, come back 20 years later, and he's the top board builder in the world. And I was like, holy cow. You know, and I went to school with, you know, these guys, and I bought like his first board he made underneath the house at their place, and, you know, doing all the resin work. So,
yeah.
Cool.
So,
how about the skateboards that you build?
Yeah. That actually that's epoxy running through there, and the kid put some paint on it. Like I said, every now and then I'll get like an art student that'll.
Oh, Chris, I think you're muffling the mic. Yeah, there you go.
Better.
Much better.
Yeah.
So every now and then I'll get an art student that's really good, and they'll paint some awesome stuff on the boards. That's actually epoxy through there in the middle. And then he added a little paint, trying to make it look like a river.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It is cool. Nice.
Yeah, that one turned out pretty good.
That's
And
awesome.
my buddy's all into the skate scene too. They're doing the electric boards, and he's, you know, basically generated his own industry now out here. And you know, he's got guys all around the world trying to, you know, get them to paint their boards and stuff. And they come and they buy supplies from me. I teach them, you know, kind of tips and stuff. But I mean, the guy's a natural at it. He's spraying decks out of his partner's house underneath, and they're just doing it in a room. And, you know, and and they're starting to take off with their own business. And I love seeing stuff like that with the kids getting involved too.
Have you painted on rice paper at all before?
No, I haven't. I'm just kind of curious what that would do, because, you know, how it reacts with the paint.
Yeah, that girl just sat down and kicked that thing out. I was like, holy cow.
Wow.
And that's just all hand done? Is that hand painted? Yeah.
Hand paint markers.
Yeah.
My God, that is a lot going on. That is great.
I know.
Whoa.
But the kids are so creative, and the
Yeah.
ones that are like that are the ones that you want to get streaming into the arts, right? This kind of person doesn't need to be sitting behind a desk in an office for the rest of her life. She needs to be out creating, right?
Right.
And hopefully she'll understand her gift and be able to just pursue it.
Wow.
Chris, do you use like a kit like that Roar Rocket? Did you see that company Roar Rocket?
Yeah, you know, they're I like what they do, but they patented their vacuum bags, and their vacuum bags just suck. You know, like they're cheap, so you know it's good if you're really limited budget wise to do some boards, but it's not a woodworking vacuum press. But
So
I
you're
mean,
trying to make
basically,
your
it's the
own
same thing. It's just, you know, you buy their molds, you buy their stuff.
Yeah.
You pay a lot more money than what, you know, you normally would. And we made all our own molds, and GM made a couple for us. General Motors donated a few. But
They made molds for skateboards?
yeah.
That's great.
Well, they're like they're donating some stuff to our class. They're gonna their fabrication departments, like they don't have anybody to fill these jobs. So the director at General Motors called me and asked, like, can I come over and see what you guys are doing? And then he looked through and was like, liked what we were doing and wants to figure out some sort of partnership so kids can leave my class and have some sort of pathway to end up at GM.
Yeah.
So doing designs and stuff.
Yeah.
My buddy Ron from Mob Steel, he's got a buddy that works for, you know, an automotive. He does all the concept stuff, and you know, they tell me about how they use clay, and instead of using primer, they actually use clear coat over the clay as their primer and do their final sanding and stuff, which I found was interesting. He says it just the clear coat gives them a better result using that. And it's cool that GM's out there reaching out to you guys and helping your guys' industry.
Yeah, we were super happy. We're like, yeah, you can donate anything you want, you know?
How did that happen? I mean, how did they reach out to you?
Well, as soon as we started doing these celebrity boards, we started getting a lot of media. And then once we got the media, then people all over ended up, you know, wanting to be involved, or what can I donate, or can I help out with this? And it's just been a community thing from the area and all over, actually. So,
Maybe.
and you know, and that's really why we do it for the media, and we learned something from the people that we're building for. So like this year, Paul DeGeller, he's a Shark Week host, building for him. Ty Pennington, and I don't know if you like country music, but Kenny Chesney.
Okay.
So those are 3 celebrity builds this year, and we learned about them. And
So awesome.
What is the wood that you're using, like in the decks that he's running through right now?
mostly
I
cedar.
can see there's different colors, so I know there's 2 different types of wood, right?
Yeah. So the white on this board is aspen. That's epoxy down the middle, and just red cedar.
How thin is the material that when you guys put over the tops of the decks? It's because it's a bottom and top, right?
Yeah.
Or is it strips, or is it as wide? You know, how wide?
You got to glue it all together, and then glue it to the frame. Yeah.
The frame. Okay.
Yeah. And people do it different ways. I don't know if there's a right or wrong way. I just know the way we do it. Some people glue strip by strip on the frames as they go. We glue it all up at once and then glue it to the frame. But
I have another naive question. Is it the wood that makes it float, or is it that it's hollow and sealed?
Hollow and sealed.
Okay. Wow. So this is like a boat.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys do all your glass work yourself too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, it's a big thing out here. You know, I got actually a friend of mine. He was the 3M rep. Now he's the CEO for Fiberglass Hawaii, and they distribute worldwide. And it's really interesting all the different aspects that resin and fiberglass get into. Everything from surfboards, ding repairs to marine to a lot of different stuff, especially in the woodworking side too.
So,
It's cool.
so
It's really cool.
oh, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No, that's all right. I was gonna.
Oh, so okay, and another naive question. So, do you put like Todd was mentioning glass? Is this then glassed on top of the wood, and I just don't see it because it's been cleared?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So like foam boards, like they're fiberglass the same way as foam boards. After they're sanded and shaped or and ready, then yeah, you fiberglass them and then put a hot coat over top, and yeah, it's just crystal clear.
Cloth, you're using cloth, you're using the cloth draped over it, then you pour the resin.
Yep.
And when the resin goes into the cloth, it makes it transparent.
Yep.
Oh, I had no idea. I didn't even know what I was looking at here. I work with metal, so
Right.
Where's Tim Zavacki to make fun of me? He always says, "Oh, Ron doesn't know about wood. He knows about metal." So when I'm looking at this thing, is this one sheet, or can you just do any amount of sheets it takes to make that compound shape take, and then you clear, and then resin, and you're good, or is it?
So
Yeah.
We fiberglass one side and then cut a lap and then flip it and then fiberglass the other side. So it's wrapped, it's completely sealed. But we want these things to be as light as possible. So we're not putting multiple coats of we're really trying to limit the epoxy. We only have one sheet. Some, like a lot of surfboards, they'll put 2 sheets of fiberglass over the decks.
Is this it right here?
Yeah, that's fiberglass right there.
Sorry, Ty, what were you saying?
No, the ounce glass. See how it's like a tablecloth draped over the board, right? And what's the thickness of the glass? Because I think it's
that's 6 ounce.
6 ounce. Okay.
Yeah.
I know like the pros or the high end boards, the really light ones, they're going like 4 ounce. But the thing is you jump on them, bang them, they just dent and they get beat up pretty easy.
On the wood boards, they go 4 ounce.
No, I'm talking about surfboards. They want to make the board as light as possible too. But the thing is it's the durability of it. It takes a factor over.
And that's the thing between the foam and the wood. The wood's going to be heavier. They're going to perform differently, but they will also last a lifetime. Where you see the surfers with the foam boards, they got 50 foam boards in their garage. They got, you know what I mean? Like they break a board every however many weeks, depending on how hard they're riding. That'll never end up in a landfill, and there's no foam. So we really like the eco-friendly aspect to it.
That's amazing.
So with these bigger boards, what's the smallest size surfboard you guys make?
Right now we're making, well, for the kid out in Hawaii, it's 7.2.
Okay.
Gun board, and then we're making the same thing for Paul DeGelder, the Shark Week guy. So this dude gets his arm and his leg ripped off by a shark in a shark attack, right? What's he want on his surfboard? A shark. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Super cool guy.
What's this guy's name?
Paul DeGelder. Paul DeGelder.
How long does it take to make a board?
Yeah.
Me or the kids?
The kids.
I only have them for an hour a day, and with safety and all the other stuff I got to teach, usually takes about 3/4 of the year. But we can kick them out in about 50, 60 hours. It really just depends on how many mistakes are made, how detailed of a design are we doing. There's a lot of factors in it, but somewhere around there.
You're not kidding.
Is it easy to fix or to repair them? Let's say somebody dinged it or dropped it. You know, they're notorious. Oh, it fell off my car.
Yeah, it falls off the car. Chances are it might have a little scratch on it, but not much. No. I mean,
how thick are the planks? You said they're kind of like planks, real, you know, what
Yeah.
was the thickness of them?
so most people that do most people go 1/4 inch. We go 1/8 inch.
Okay.
But we add some other structural supports in there to make them strong.
Is it kind of built like an airplane wing?
Yeah.
That's cool. It's got like ribs and spars. Yeah.
Yep. That's
And a
exactly
skin.
it.
Ribs, spars, and a skin.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. I did an aviation countertop with aluminum and rivets, but everything underneath was like steel ribs and spars and a frame that came down. And then, I learned a lot about the aviation wing, even though I was just mimicking it. It's not going to fly. It was just a bar counter. But yeah, it's an interesting structure because it's super lightweight, but crazy strong,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yep.
Nice. That's awesome. Very cool. This is like interesting stuff. I didn't realize about the fiberglass. I've done nothing with glass. I wouldn't even know the first thing. But I think that I've always been curious about it, because you can make some structural parts with it. And it's widely used, like you said. Todd, you were talking about it's like in every industry, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool.
Chris, what got you into the fiberglass? How did you learn, or who,
So
I
I
mean,
was,
that's an art in itself.
well, how shop teachers are rich and we get so much stuff, from the schools and everything that we just don't know what to do with. So I was digging through some barn that somebody called me and said, hey, there might be some wood back here, something that you could have if you want to come look through and see. And I ran into this 80-something-year-old guy and we got talking. He was super cool and he builds canoes. And originally I was thinking of building canoes. So he came in, he volunteered in the classroom. We built a canoe, we fiberglassed it. The canoe took forever. I will never build another canoe. It was fun one time, but I don't want to build two. But I learned how to fiberglass, and I learned a lot of the techniques that are used in the paddleboard making in the canoe building. The paddle boards they're a lot faster to make. I feel like they appeal more to the kids and we can get a lot more creative design wise. A lot of times I get bored making the same project, but these paddle boards, each one is unlike any other one that we've made. So I'm not bored of them yet. So but that's where I learned the fiberglassing anyway. It really wasn't that harsh. It's really not that harsh. It's one of those things you just got to try,
Nice. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, kind of like it's funny how the shop teacher thing develops because you start out with a necessity. Like I started out with making, we took a full-size car and we converted it from gas to electric. But that's a great project, but it's enormous and it takes forever. And it's very expensive. So I've been reducing down in size. It's really about finding that balance between a project that's exciting enough to get the kids involved and all the press involved, because you need the press because shop class is always on the chopping block. It's actually a great motivator. When I got the job teaching the first day, the supervisor said to me, "Hey kid, don't get used to this." That's what he said, And I said, "Why?" He says, "Because you're an elective and most schools get rid of it." And that actually motivated me, So then I went crazy and I built this electric car thing, which got the press and the kids involved. But now I went super small, and we do these little tiny cars and little flashlight projects and small engines. But I got to find that balance between something exciting but something doable. And it's amazing that, Chris, you found that. Mine might be maybe go-karts, or maybe we'll see. I don't know. You
don't even need to do 150 of the projects. You just need to do one.
Yeah.
One that they can write an article about, one that they can advertise, that the kids can talk about. Something to keep it going.
Yeah. Let me show you the aviation bar counter thing. This is what I built here. This was, not for the school, but a private project. But it's got the same, I would imagine, the same structure. You see, this is like the ribs, and then the spars go through it, and then it's crazy lightweight. But then what you can do is, it's easy to transport it. Makes it super easy. I'm just gonna, Chris, I'll just mute you for a sec. Unmute yourself when you're ready to jump back in. It's no big deal. But that's a good way of making stuff. And you can see this is the early development of it. I had to make these ribs that had, the hole for the spar to go through and everything. And I welded those up. That was a fun project, but I can't imagine making it out of wood. That would be awesome. What a cool project,
Yeah, that thing is sweet. Sorry, my son was.
Oh no problem. Yeah. You know what happens is it gets feedback, and then all we got to do is just mute it for a second. You just jump back in whenever. Yeah. Very cool.
What was the finish that you did on the table, Ron?
The paint.
Did you just leave it in aluminum?
No. Okay. So it's mostly aluminum, but then I hired a friend to do the pinstriping. Let me pull that up. And that was a lot of fun. I wanted to do it myself, but I didn't have the first clue. So I figured, you know what? I'll hire my friend to do the pinstriping, and then I'll see how he does it, and then I'll try it as well. And then on the next one. So this is him right here. This is Anthony. He does pinstriping and sign painting for a living. And this is it. Let's see. This was the place. It's like a cafe. Let me see. Okay. Oh, here he goes. So they had a band going. It was like a big party, and so he's lettering the thing. And let me see if I can get. Oh, there we go. Closer photos. So kind of like a little bit World War II style. Like, we didn't have a pinup girl on there, but we went with we called it Elevated Vibes was like the name of the aviation company, So, and then I think we pulled some lines and he was teaching and stuff. Yeah. And he just wiped that off when we were done. Oh, and this is some of the stuff he ended up doing some of this here. It was minimal, but it worked. Like, I can't believe how well it sticks. People sit on this daily and have coffee and food, and it's barely scratched, which is unbelievable. And I was warned by a friend. He's like, "Oh, you can't do aluminum because when you touch it, you'll get this gray stuff on your hands. You got to use stainless steel." And I was like, stainless is it's more expensive. It's harder to bend and cut and this and that. So I went with aluminum. It worked out fine. It doesn't oxidize that much, and it's really not a big deal. So that worked out,
What's the clear that you put over top of your paints, Todd?
We use acrylic urethanes or some kind of urethane. I always recommend a 2K product, Catalyze. Single components, as for UV protection, they're not there. There is UV clears, but we don't really use them too much and haven't brought it out into our market because Hawaii is so inferior with the sun and UV. But the thing behind clear, just to give you a little bit of science, is with the high-end clears, they have UV screeners like your glasses. So when you put them up to the sun, they actually protect the UV penetration. And that protects the clear and the paint itself When you get into lower line clears, they don't have as much of those screeners if they even have them, and therefore they break the clear down and break down your product. One thing, like if you're going to do resin tables and all this other stuff, is if you have a table that's out in the sun, it's going to get ruined a lot faster than if you have a resin table that's inside a dark bar or something. It'll last forever. That's another thing to keep in mind when you're doing woodwork. What environment are you putting your piece into, and and how long are you going to get longevity out of it? But for automotive, we have to offer a lifetime warranty, right, for the customer as well as for the shop. So the clears that we use have high-end resins and and those UV screeners. And that's what I tell people. I says they spend all this money. Oh, this guy did all this body work, did all this stuff, but then we bought all the cheapest stuff we could to put onto the car, and it didn't last. And so, all that hard work is just fallen to the wayside because they didn't spend a little bit extra to, make up that difference of having longevity with a good product.
Wow, interesting.
So how do I get this back? How do I got to go back to how do I get my kids to be able to do this stuff? What do I got to buy? Are there training video? Like,
for what you're doing, I would reach out to the manufacturers and just say, hey guys, and show them. I mean, you already got the celebrity behind you. You got, and that's like a huge endorsement. Look, I'm doing stuff for these people. I like to give them a high-end product. Is there somebody that you guys can refer me to or to be able to help me out? I mean, if you were out here in Hawaii, it would be a shoo-in. I would come over and we would just go over stuff. But where you are, there's got to be somebody that's kind of like me and can be able to teach and show you guys some tricks. And then from there, just learning the basics, how to apply it, what the do's and don'ts, and from there you're set. It's just like resin. You can mess it up or you can make it look cherry. It's just a matter of how you apply yourself and follow the proper steps. It's the same thing with automotive paint. So, I mean, I'll give you any tips you need. You can feel free after this. DM me and we'll exchange information. You can call me. I mean, I FaceTime people a lot and just talk about what they got going on. I had actually a girl reach out to me in Canada, does furniture restorations, and she's trying to figure out how to color sand and buff on some furniture stuff. And, we're sharing tips. She's using a turbine gun to spray lacquer products, right? She uses a water-based paint on the wood, but she's using a lacquer clear coat. And I said, well, one thing you got to watch out is lacquer is really thin. You'll have to apply more and more coats. And then the thing is also the wood has pores in it. And if you're trying to polish or wet sand, you get water into the pores, it will distort or discolor the wood. If it gets down in there, creep underneath your clear. And then you got bigger problems. Now you got to remove and restart over. So, I mean, there's trials and errors and everything. It's like I tell everybody, but if you follow the steps to perfection, you usually get perfect stuff at the end. So.
That's cool.
I'll put some feelers out in the area and see if I can find somebody because I think it'd be sweet.
Yeah, PPG. There's PPG, Sherwin-Williams. If you're dealing with, I don't know what kind of paint you guys are doing or where you're getting your products from.
Yeah, well, usually, I mean, for the skateboards and stuff, because again, I don't know how to spray paint, so like airbrush, any of that stuff. So we just paint markers, and if they can draw, or they might transfer like an outline onto it, and then kind of color it with transfer paper. But other than that, that's pretty much it for those.
I took some training in Autobody. I'm not going to say I know anything about it. I just went through the motions. But something to consider is there might be an Autobody shop around there that might let you paint a panel, just for practice. Because basically, like, you gotta get down to the, like, it's stages. It's like you got bare metal, you got to prep the metal, then you got to put the, primer, and then you got to put the cut. You might sand that. You're going by layers, and then you go into the I mean, Todd knows more than this than I do. I'm just giving you the basic overview, you know, and it just goes in layers, then color, and then a few, maybe depending on what you're doing, and then clear on top of that. And you might be, and you got to be in a clean environment for sure. And you got to clean your gun like crazy, you know? Yeah.
And relatively, you can get into, you know, I would, first of all, where do you live, Chris?
Outside of Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. I'll talk to my buddy Ron to see if there's something available or something that can happen of putting you with somebody. I'll run down what you guys are doing and let him know. He's Ron Conan from Mob Steel. Now he's a tech rep out there. I mean, we talk all the time. He came out here, put up a spray booth, and, you know, reached out to me through Instagram. We've created a good friendship. But I mean, I know that he would probably be able to have some connections for you. And he's the same guy that I was saying that has a buddy that builds concept cars out in Detroit area. So I think the thing is there's probably a training center out there. I don't know if they would be able to bring you in and teach you some stuff, because basically what I do is I'm the training center here, and I teach the guys when they come on board how to use our paint, the computer, you know, the process.
Sure.
And some guys, you know, our training center is in Orange, California, and, you know, it's either we ship them there or we do the training here. So it's the same thing that you guys would need is, you know, maybe there's somebody that can go by your school and just do a small project with you guys so that you guys can experience it. You can get paint guns fairly cheap. Like we sell these for like $170, and you'll have a gun and it just starts you on your way. Just like Ron's saying, you build a foundation and then you build on top of that. And depending on the material or what you're trying to paint is in coordinates with the products you got to use, right? If you're using on metal, it's like you said, you have an etching that bonds to the metal, and then a sealer or primer, and then paint on top of that, and then clear. And then, you know, when you get into the custom stuff, you got, you know, you're doing layers of stuff. You put your base color, you put flakes, or you put pearl, and then you put clear, right? So there's just, depending on the caliber that you want to get into, it's just about getting out there and doing it. I mean, with the flakes and stuff, the way I learned is just grab the jar and start putting it in and messing around with it and spraying it and trial and error and watching others. There's a lot of videos on YouTube, just how-to videos. And you can pick and choose, because some guys you're like, oh, that doesn't really look right. And sometimes it's not right. But you'll see some guys like, wow, this guy really knows his shit. And I'm going to watch him and then follow his videos. And if we can, like I said, we'll connect up. And if I see stuff, I'll definitely shoot it over to you.
Awesome. That'd be great.
I mean,
when I get off this call, I'll find you on Instagram. So we can connect here.
Yeah, and I'll put all in the show notes and in the, you know, when we put it up on YouTube and stuff. You know, Chris, I got a question about, did you do snowboards?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. You owe me some training. I want to make a snowboard. That would be awesome. I would do that with the kids, and I'll take them on a field trip. That would be amazing.
Snowboards are actually really not difficult at all to make, but you do need a way to press it. So like the companies, they have like hydraulic presses and stuff, and they have.
I have a hydraulic press.
Well, they have with their molds, and then they have heat run through it to cure the boards. So ours sit in overnight, but we do it in a vacuum press.
Okay.
But it's just making a sandwich. You got your base layer of fiberglass, then your core, another layer of fiberglass. Am I feeding back here?
Oh, you're good.
Okay, and then top sheet, epoxy in between each layer, and then.
So is that all? I mean, this is another naive question. I've been snowboarding since I was 15. Is it literally? I have no idea what's inside. Is it literally just layers? So it's a layer of wood, a layer of glass. Is it a layer of plastic as well, or what?
No, the middle is a wood core.
Okay.
Like a
And
stringer in a surfboard?
what's that?
Like the stringer in a surfboard?
No, it's solid. The
So,
core and the snowboards are solid. They're not hollow. But you know your base sheet material, the bottom of your snowboard, that's your base sheet. Your edging, the metal edging, you just glue that. You got to shape it with a template and a router, just a flush trim bit. Then you shape and glue the edging to the base material. Layer of fiberglass, core, another layer of fiberglass, and then your top sheet. And we wanted to make ours a little, we teach woodworking, so I didn't want to look like these here. We didn't want them to look like store bought, so we, instead of using the top sheet, we used wood. And then like that one there, if you guys seen the show Ridiculousness, where Rob Dyrdek hosts or whatever, there's just a bunch of people doing stupid stuff, and their logo is a scorpion where you're landing on your face. So we laser cut that out and put that on that snowboard.
That's awesome, man.
did you send him a picture of it?
No,
He
No.
should. I bet he'll get a kick out of it.
yeah, you probably would.
That's cool that you guys put the metal band edge and all that, and then that bottom. What is the bottom material? It's almost like a plastic something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. If you go to I think we order off snowboardmaterials.com, and it has base sheet material. It has everything you need pretty much for it.
Now, do you use fiberglass in the skateboards too, or is that just wood and glue?
For our skateboards, we don't fiberglass unless it's like somebody's getting really creative and we're worried about strength and we want to make it stronger. Then we'll put fiberglass on, but there's no reason to put fiberglass on a skateboard other than to make it stronger.
Do you buy sheets of veneer?
Yeah, we buy. Well, there's a veneer company around us that donated a bunch of veneer. Our skateboards, our longboards, I think it's called Marwood, a place in like Indiana. They'll sell sheets of veneer for skateboards or longboards. 16th inch thick. We go 8 plies. So 2 cross grain, 6 long grain. And that's what we.
Cool. So it brings me to the question: is like, how did the school come about? How do you guys inquire your students and stuff? How is this all working out for you guys?
Great. I got too many kids in my classes right this year. I mean, we are jam-packed full. And right now I'm trying to figure out how to keep doing the same things that we're doing with so many kids.
And what's the exit strategy for these kids once they leave? Where are they pursuing their careers to? I should say.
I mean, it could be a handful of places. Like I said, GM is. We're trying to establish that pipeline right there. The biggest thing right now is I'm not trying to get them to figure out what they're going to do the rest of their life. I'm trying to get them excited and passionate about working with their hands and building something. Where that takes them could be anything. It might not be wood. It might be metal. It might be auto. It might be engines. It might be anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be carpentry. It doesn't have to be woodworking. But I want to build fun projects, have the kids get excited about it. And where it takes them, I don't worry about that. Schools worry about that. Trying to place kids. Not that I don't try to place kids. I try to hook them up with opportunities, but I don't push them in any direction.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out your base. Sorry, Ron.
No,
your base where they're coming from. Like our automotive program, it basically closed down this coming year. Because they didn't have good they weren't able to create enrollment because with COVID they couldn't go out and market the school. So I'm just trying to see where your students are coming from and how they or getting through your door.
See, I wish they would have. I don't. I mean, it sounds silly, but I wish they would have called me, because here's the thing. During COVID, you still can do automotive, but you can do a shared CAD work. You could do virtual reality, making the engine actually work. You could stress members. You could do a lot of stuff. That's what we did during COVID. We had a virtual space. Now, I know it sounds silly, but you could actually build an engine from scratch and put it together and see if it works using these programs. And it'll be multiple kids collaborating together. And then the second thing I would say about a school that closed a program would be, they got to do stuff just like what Chris is doing. They need to make a splash on the scene. Matt, who just joined us, who's here, he's a regular and supports the podcast. They build houses from ground up. Every year they're hitting that gong. It's almost like you got to hit the gong. And I'm sure that teacher did the best they could, but these programs are vital. So if anybody from that school, was watching this podcast or wanted to know something, just reach out to the shop teachers, the ones who are doing it, And then also, Harbor Freight is doing a contest, not a contest, but an award ceremony for teachers that deserve it. And there's a list online of these teachers that have made it into the final round. That is the talent pool. So like if there was a company that wanted to know something, right, and they don't know where to go, like how you're not going to call like the local yokel and be like, and you don't know how good that teacher is or whatever. You want a list of the best of the best? They're likely on this list. Not everybody, but the talent's out there. So I would say if any school was going to consider ramping up their program, there's plenty of shop teachers that have won multiple awards that if you just talk to them for 5 minutes, you'll get everything you need to know about building up a program. I don't know if that was what you were looking for, but I got triggered because I'm like, don't close the program. That's too bad. Maybe they'll bring it back.
Yeah, they're hoping that they'll get enrollment, because everybody's like, well, what's happening with everything? They just basically just close the doors and said we're just going to wait. And it's there's other things that are involved. I don't know all the politics behind it, but I just know that it wasn't a big strong influence that was able to attract new students. So therefore, it diminished any enrollment for this year, and therefore there's they had to close the doors. We just like we're not going to try and wait and see if somebody shows up. It was just too soon, too close.
Yeah, I feel like every shop teacher has to make a choice. You either get to have an easy job or you do a good job. And it's really that simple, because, if I built birdhouses, I would not stress about anything. I wouldn't not stress about anything. I wouldn't ever have to really think about money. Got plenty of money for birdhouses. No one would care what we're doing, but my enrollment would go down and it would be boring, Yep. But it'd be super easy. Super easy.
It's the funny thing is that with the program, they switched over. So this one girl, Marlene, she was actually worked for my competitor for another paint distributor, but her skills in airbrushing and artwork and all that is phenomenal. And she actually took that and brought it into the school and was interacting with the students to where they were doing custom painted bowling ball or bowling pins and other kinds of artwork stuff. And she really brought in the updated curriculum for what is really working in the shops today versus what they were teaching was stuff that was so far back it wasn't even current. They were talking about oxygen and acetylene, and none of that has been in the trade for almost 20 years. And so with that kind of knowledge that she brought, she really had a lot of good skill base. But again, the market and with the school, it just didn't have enough traction. Which I wish it would have. I mean, I did the best I could of trying to dump my time and whatever I could of materials and support, but It
School
just, in the
systems
end,
are run by people who think they're business people that don't have a clue about
Yeah.
business. And what they don't realize is that's your best advertisement. You could do a commercial saying, come to our school because we're, we get good grades and we're great. And this many people go to college or whatever. No one goes to school there because of that, but they'll hear about a program or a successful program or somebody doing something. That's the best advertisement a school can have.
no,
it's
and I
free.
agree with you. Yeah. And I mean, I was like, let's create a video, like a 1 minute loop where you go to career fairs and this and that and show all the flashy stuff, right? We want to be the hook, and they're the bait. We're the bait, we're the hook, and we want to get those students. The only way we're going to get them is have something that's flashy and catchy, right? And and it's creating something that, like you said, a buzz. And I thought we had enough substance, but we just didn't get the material out there. That was, I feel, was the Achilles heel that killed it.
Yeah. There's a couple things coming down the pike that seems like science fiction, and it's a warning. There's if there's going to be only creative jobs left, and all the jobs that are mundane, like if a shop teacher is teaching kids how to change brake pads over and over again, but not teaching them how brakes work and why they work and how to improve them. They're just teaching the kids to be like typewriter repair people, and I'm going to show you something funny. It seems like science fiction, but this is a real product that you can buy right now. This is a real thing. A burger flipping robot. I mean, that is real. And it's called Flippy. It's ridiculous, but that's it. That any job where you're just doing the same task over and over again and you're not being creative, you're obsolete. You're gone. So then you would think, well, someone could make a counter argument to me and say, well, yeah, that's those low level jobs. No. High level jobs too. This is a software robot. So it's the same idea. It can do a repetitive task with some intelligence to it. It's called UiPath. This is a real company on the stock exchange. This is a real thing. And it's taking the mundane jobs away, high level and low level. And even in manufacturing, these humanoid robots are a real thing. Tesla's built a robot, and they come through with whatever they're doing, even though it takes a couple years. So my point is that the shop class is the only place where you get to be creative. You're not just, there's no predetermined answer. It's not like, the state says, you need to learn this by a certain age category, whereas in the shop classes, you get to be creative. You get to come up with new ideas, and you can do this with your mind and your hand and your creativity. And that's why the shop classes are so important, because when you're training a kid, and you got to give them options for the future. In the future, no one knows the future, right? So even if the state has a curriculum, we don't know what's going to happen next, especially with robots, software robots as well, high-level software robots, and then also this crazy stuff where they're flipping burgers with a robot. So, I think that now more than ever, the shop teachers need to step up and shine, because they got to protect their program.
Got a question, Chris? Yeah. How many years have you been in, like, doing what you're doing?
17.
I got almost 30 years. Ron, how much do you have?
I'm going into my 17th year.
Okay. So if we bring in students and within a year or two, they walk out with everything that we know combined of almost 50 years, almost 60 years of knowledge, what does that give them as a leg up more than what we have right now?
Exactly.
That's the mindset of planting that seed to them, going, look, I'm going to give you what I've learned, and I'm 50 years old, and I'm going to send you out the door, and you're 18, 19, and you have 40 more or 60 more years to go beyond. That's the seed that they need to learn, that's what they're going to grow on. and then produce underneath them the next generation and the next generation, right? That's how we evolve.
Absolutely. That's great. Yeah, I mean, imagine a program with like 3 or 4 shop teachers in it, and you got multiple things. Even what Matt's doing, they're not just building houses, they're trying to make the houses more efficient. They're using better materials. They're collaborating with industry, you know. And so imagine a kid who does, let's say, an improved house. Matt could speak better about this, but he's done houses that have improved materials using, I guess, rock wall or some sort of energy efficient way. And when they get out of there, they're not just like, yeah, I know how to hammer a thing. Well, they're going to have a hammer robot. That's coming. That's not what we're trying to train them to do. We're not trying to make robots. We're not making birdhouses. We're making creativity. We're using the skills for creativity so they're self-sufficient and they create the future, or they can survive the future. Who knows what's coming, you know? Absolutely.
Hey guys, I got to run here. I just want to say thanks for being on here today. Matt, when you win that money, expect a trip out, you know, like all the guys on here. And Todd, I'll be getting a hold of you because I want to collaborate some more. All right.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm glad I got on here and got to meet you. Thanks, Chris.
Chris, thanks for coming by. That was perfect timing.
All right, we'll see you.
So switching gears a little, I wanted to get into talk to you about Metal Flake in a sec, but I just wanted to introduce you to Matt Bloomquist. He's here,
and Duke. I see Duke here.
Oh, yeah. Duke teaches middle school, but Matt also he ran the woodshop program at the prison, right? Isn't that what you did?
Cool.
Oh, we can't hear you. Yeah, he's gonna set it up. But I wanted to. So, you know, we were before you got on here. We're talking about empowering, people that are in prison because it's a way that you can build them up instead of just letting them out and then who knows what could happen. And all of us probably done some dumb things growing up and whatnot. So, but now, how long did you teach there?
The prison I did 4 years, and then I just started the 5th year at the high school. So yeah, the prison I taught for our college, and we did the construction occupation certificate. And then we also had like wood shop going on. And then we also would fabricate the walls for Habitat for Humanity in their local area houses. So we'd actually build the walls for houses. We'd knock out a whole house in 3 days with the guys. We'd go frame it up and the Sally port, stand it up, check it for square, put it back down. The truck would pull in, we'd load it, and by the weekend, it had shingles on the roof.
Wow, that's cool. And how many people did you have in a class at a time?
17 plus. I usually had 1 to 3 TAs/tool clerks.
Gotcha. And then you had guards with you, or it was just you?
Just me. Now we had a guard down the hallway in the vocational wing, and then when we go out to the Sally port, there was a guard up in the tower right above us.
Gotcha. Yeah,
but we were minimum security. So I'm sorry, say that again, Todd.
Where was this at?
Taylorville, Illinois.
Okay.
That's wild. Yeah, I was telling him my uncle was prison. Not just a guard, but he was like an employee for life there. He did multiple jobs there, but he was always saying that you got to empower people. They made some mistakes, but you got to empower people. Otherwise, it's just a repeated pattern.
You got to give them something to do when they get out, otherwise they come back.
Yeah, exactly. Let's jump over to Metal Flake. I wanted to ask you. There's some amazing videos here. This is like mesmerizing. You almost want to eat it. Looks like candy.
So slow-mo videos, yeah. I mean, it's like, see it.
Oh, that is cool. So when you you can make your own Metal Flake. Is that what's going on?
Well, you buy them. Basically, there's a lot of companies out there. This is Tropical Glitz, a guy named Manny in Florida. There's also Paint Huffers. He's in Arizona, and I met these guys through Instagram. And it's funny, there's the guy Manny in Florida. He's we've been talking to each other, and he actually wants to try and get me to possibly sell out here because it's hard to ship over from the U.S. getting over to here. So that might be a venture I might look into. But yeah, the metal flake is definitely a cool thing. There's so many different things that you can do with it. So you see the pinstriping on the bike? That's from the girl that was working at the college. She was the instructor. So she does custom pinstriping. And that's my wife's bike that I built for her. We got
Wow, look at this bike.
Yeah. So this bike was on the side of somebody's house over on the southeast side of the island, and it sat for 13 years. And nobody, the guy's kid bought the bike. I think he rode it for a tank of gas, parked it on the side of his house, and his parents flipped out and he moved to Japan and left the bike for 13 years. My friend rented the apartment and says, "Hey, whose bike's underneath this ragged top?" He goes, "Oh, that was my son's bike." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And then a week later, he goes, "Hey, you know that bike?" He goes, "Yeah, what about it?" He goes, "If you want it, it's yours." He goes, "No way." And he goes, "But there's one condition. You got to get it out of here. It's been here too long." So my buddy calls me up and says, "You want a bike?" And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Come see it." So I came and talked to the guy's father, and he goes, "Yeah, I got the key, but I don't have paperwork." I called up a buddy of mine and I says, "Hey, can you get paperwork on a bike?" And he goes, "Yeah, we'll do a mechanics lien on it." So, and he's all, "Can you paint the bumpers for my Infinity? And I'll do all the paperwork process." So I did that. So $10 it cost us to get this bike. It had 356 miles on it.
Oh my God. No way.
So it's a 2003 Harley Sportster. Yeah.
Wow. Did you have to clean out the carbs? What was wrong with it?
It was before ethanol, so it smelled like turpentine, but the tank was flawless inside. Drained the gas, we changed the oil, put a battery in it, fired up. I had to clean the car, though. I had to clean the car, but it sputtered a little bit. But I rode it up and down the street, and I said, "All right, we'll tear it apart and go through it."
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so funny. BJ, how you doing? Oh, we can't hear you. You got to unmute yourself.
How we doing?
All right. Wait,
Been a while.
dude, you're the terrazzo guy.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yep.
Wow. Oh my God, Todd, I got to introduce you to BJ here. He used to install terrazzo floors, like the types in the old schools. God, that's a metal flake situation, right? Yeah. You did stuff like that. You would add to isn't it terrazzo like is the metal flake of concrete, basically?
Yeah, marble chips and glass. They put a lot of things in it. Metal too.
Shells, mother of pearl.
Yeah, mother of pearl.
Yeah, I sent him an
seashells.
email. I told him a guy from Hawaii is going to be on.
Oh, nice.
Cool. So you gotta educate me on the flooring. So I'm trying to.
You'll know right
visualize
away
what it looks
when I pull it up. You'll know right away.
Yeah, it's an industrial flooring.
Like this with the
They
trims.
don't have. There's not a lot of it in
Airport.
Hawaii. There's not.
Airport
Wawa.
stuff. Yep.
Okay.
Crazy stuff like this.
So it's a lot of inlays and stuff you're doing then.
And yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Old school, like
terrazzo in Hawaii. There's some, but not a lot.
Yeah. No, I don't. You don't see too much of it out here. It's mostly wood, concrete, or tile.
Yeah. What island are you on?
I'm on Oahu. The main
Okay.
island was Waikiki and Honolulu.
All right.
So what is it, the material that you're using? Is it more resin based?
Yeah, it's epoxy and then marble chips. The old terrazzo was cement and marble chips, but most of it's all epoxy now.
Was that the ones that were more whitish colors and stuff? If you're saying it had cement?
Yeah, I mean, there was white. Yeah, some of it was white.
This was a cool episode. We dove into this. We had a whole episode about it. I'll have to send you the link. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
You were talking about metal flakes. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
metal flakes, and there's actually it's and believe it or not, a lot of these are actually a mylar flake. It's almost a plastic with a coating. But there is some other ones that I have that are actually, they call them glass. They're like crushed glass, and they're really jagged. I mean, they're really like gnarly, and it weighs twice as much as these jars of flake. And in my last couple of posts, if you see me doing those slow pours, that's the glass stuff. There was this guy Danny D who passed away. He died from COVID recently. It really, saddened a lot of people. But yeah, the one that has the teal, so that one is the glass flake. So it's basically jars of it.
Wow.
And I gotta get a special gun to spray it, but that's something I want to put in. It's like a resin table, do the river tables, or do something where it's going to be resin. My wife wants me to start doing dominoes, where you do the resin dominoes, and we're going to do stuff like that with it. So, I mean, I got a lot of side projects. I just don't have time to do them all.
Yeah, all of us. That's so cool, man. This is excellent, man. This is so interesting. Oh, now going back to that bike for a second. Is this the artist right here?
Yeah, that's her, Marlene. Yeah. So Big Ocean Design. She was the instructor at the community college. Now she works for Gerber. So what she's doing, since, like I said, the program shut down, Gerber gave her a job offer. So she's going to do their internship program, where basically this Autobody company is, and I'll probably have this all fumbled up, but from what I heard, they're going around and they're consolidators. They're buying up a lot of the shops, and then they're like the McDonald's and these big corporations, and they're buying up shops. But the thing is they have a really good structured plan about making money, right? They're successful. So with that, they're actually doing an intern program where they bring kids in, run them through the internship that's paid as they go through it. From what she was describing, they get incentives, and then they get there's like a tool package and stuff at the end. And it's an incentive for them to stay on, and they get all the certification. They get ICAR and whatever else they can provide them. And it basically just gives them a leg up.
Wow. That might be the model going forward. I guess she got some metal flake on her face.
Yeah. So all that stuff was her doing stuff with the students at the school.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
If she is interested, I would love to talk to her about this.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
That might be the model going forward, is that these companies, I don't think they rely on the school system any longer. They're going to start training everybody themselves. And I heard Tesla's going to do that too.
Yeah. I mean, you build them in-house. They walk out knowing what they need to do.
Yeah.
And you build them with all the good habits, not the bad habits that they'll get out there in the field. And for her, she has such a good knowledge base in collision and in the custom, which you can see. That was the big thing is in our industry, we need shops to rely on helping the programs, right? If a shop gets involved and hires out of the school, just like if you had welders coming out of your program, you would want those welders going to your shop and knowing that I'm going to put in the effort to make sure that they give me a good, viable student or a good, viable tech for my shop. And the thing is I'm willing to make the investment in them. But the problem that happens is out on the street, they hire a kid right off the street, and then they pair him up with a kid right out of the school, and they're right at the same pay scale. And the problem is this kid went to school, he's put some knowledge, he's put some effort in, but this kid came off the street, but you're still giving them equal. And that balance doesn't happen. And so with that, it's hurting our industry in a way. And I'm hoping that once the school gets back going again, that the shops will realize that, hey, let's put a little bit more effort into this and make some concessions that I'm going to go in. I'm going to try and build a relationship so that the student knows who I am. And when they get out, I'll put them in my shop, because they do an internship too through the summer program. And once you complete the summer program, then it gateways you into the shop. And it's offered as free, but most of the shops do pay. But the thing is you got to also give the kid incentives while they're there, right? Make it worth their while. Show them that there's an investment on your part as well as there's an investment on their part to continue to learn, continue to grow, and be a part of the shop and the culture.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. God, it's a tough one, because all these local schools are just making their own little decisions about these electives, and they're and then when they have low enrollment, they don't reach out for help. I know that even the community college by me, I worked there part-time as well as my day job, and at the time they had no way of anyone knowing what we were doing. I was the only one taking photos of what we were doing and going to events and showing up. And now they're starting to, but they still they have a manufacturing program with like 10 milling machines manual, and then lathes and CNC and laser and all this stuff. Nobody even knows it's there. The shop teacher, he does some social media, but not that much. And the students who go there don't even know it's there. Like, I just met a student the other day, and I said, you want to be an engineer? He says, yeah. I said, are you going to Bergen? He said, yeah. I said, well, are you in the manufacturing program? And he said, wait, they have a manufacturing program? I'm like, oh my God. He's at the school and he doesn't even know. Yeah. And that could be the student, but also that program. So these programs need a PR director or something, or enthusiastic shop teachers,
I think it needs to come down to where Duke's at. You said you're in elementary or intermediate. Sorry, I know that you're in the
middle school, 6, 7,
middle school, right? I think that's where the developing needs to be, so that you get that guidance, that push out into these other fields that we're talking about. If kids that you could see the kids that want to use their hands and get creative, right? Those are the kids that you want to get into the trades or, whatever. But, I think that's the level where we need to be to start, sifting through and find a development. But I mean, we're trying to figure out what we can do to better facilitate new growth. And that's the hard part.
There's Mooney's on a Mini.
Yeah, that's their car. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I've never seen Mooney's on a Mini. That's awesome. This is super creative stuff. This has got to be, I mean, thank God for Instagram. That's actually how all this got started, is that we, the shop teachers jumped on Instagram. It's such a great, we're in the like visual creativity. So what a great platform. And then we created a podcast with, another guy named Barbacek, and he's moved on to some other stuff, but these guys have helped me, keep it going over the years. So it's great that shop teachers can share all this info,
Hey, Ron, real quick. So, talking about finding ways, and Todd, you guys talking about finding ways to, train and get kids and blah, blah, blah. So I had a builder over in Valparaiso, Indiana, reach out to me. And he's gotten so desperate. In like the last 10 years, he's gone through like 120 employees. So I don't know if sometimes I'm like, well, is that all their fault, or is there something going on with you too? But either way, he seems like a really nice guy and stuff. He has really good ideas. So what he's doing is he's going and tapping into all the homeschool students and the private schools and setting up more or less like an internship with his company where he trains them, and I think even pays them. I think they come, they get paid, they become his employees, and he trains them but he's going after like the homeschool and stuff because he doesn't jump through like all the red tape. And so he was
Right.
calling and asking me, you know, for advice on like, you know, how these programs work. Cause he would like to get with the public school, but he's like, right now I'm just tapping into like the homeschool students and even the private schools. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's kind of brilliant at the moment because no one can tell you no.
Yeah.
So like he's taking, you know, the industry people are getting, you know, just like, you know, you're saying there, Todd, about training and trying to get buy-in and everything. He's pretty much going and trying to get kids to buy in by tapping in, you know, to the schools. And like I said, found a loophole at the moment by using homeschool kids.
It's a good idea. You know, I teach private lessons as well. I do intro to welding, intro to engines. And during COVID, you know, the school was shut down. I had to teach remotely. And then also my classes, you know, people were afraid to register, and which is understandable. But homeschool parents called me up, and I taught homeschool kids. We just wore a mask, no big deal. And they continued because there's with the homeschool parents, they're kind of out of the box, you know, and they're willing to try new stuff and also go for it, you know, because they know that they want their kids to be empowered.
The big buzzword is STEM now. Yeah. STEM or STEAM or STREAM. But the shop teachers are the original STEM teachers. But the school districts don't want to see that. They got blinders on. So they're like, let's train everybody else to do STEM. Let's have the English teachers teach STEM, the reading teachers, the art teachers, the librarians. They're training everybody but the shop teachers. They don't see it. You know, you think about it in years, where are the plumbers going to come from? Where are the electricians going to come from? Like, Ron, you can show all the robot videos you want, but you're not going to have a robot crawl in a crawl space and find that pinhole leak and patch it. You're still going to need your plumbers. But these school districts, they're teaching everything else. Shop teachers have always been on the back burner. Now we're on the back burner even more. You know, and this STEM is just like a Band-Aid for them. It's like wrapping electrical tape around that pinhole. But eventually, you know, they're going to need the shop teacher again, but I don't know if they'll ever see it.
No, I totally agree with you. And, you know, like one of the big things that we were talking about out here is that, you know, the schools don't understand that, you know, in the collision side, there's a lot of consumables. You know, a student in the English class or, you know, some of these literature class, they have some books, they have a laptop, they have some basic essentials. In the collision training program, in the repair program, you have so many body fillers, sandpapers. You have all these consumables that you're just burning through. If you want to teach the kids adhesives, metal bonding, plastic repairs, I mean, you're getting into $50 tubes, and you know, and if you have 24 students and it's 2 tubes per student, you know, that cost adds up. And at the end of the year, you know, you're like, well, we need $10,000, but we actually need $20,000 in materials. You know, we got to paint 3 cars. We got to do all this. Where's all this money going to come from? And the community, like us, you know, of being a distributor, we were coming in and helping them fill in some of those back voids. But the problem is we dealt with a lot of administration stuff, trying to get the paperwork pushed through. And they were dealing, well, we gave them it. We got to wait for approval, right? And it's like, we're ready to punch the ticket. You know, I got one of the manufacturers to bring in a plastic welder. So, you know, and they gave it to me at rock bottom prices. And then we were ready to give over the plastic welder, and all of a sudden the program closed. So now we're like, oh crap. And the manufacturer was going to use it as an IG marketing influence thing, right? So they're like, okay, we'll do this huge slide over donation, just cover our machine and this and that. And, you know, so we did all the stuff. I got all the shipping to get it over here, and all of a sudden, boom, the bottom falls out. But it's just like everything else. You know, I'm glad to hear you guys are tapping into the private schools and the home schools. Somebody told me that was in private school. He goes, dude, you know what you need to do? They need to go down there and talk to the career counselors or whoever at the schools and say, hey, I want to see the kid that's not going to be the doctor. He's not going to be the lawyer. He's going to be, he's good with his hands, but he's kind of got, he's not going to sit and go through 4 years of med school or 8 years of med school. This might be a kid that, we can get him to be a shop owner or something like that. But the thing is those are the kind of kids that you want to bring into our industry, the blue collar industry, because at the end of the day, they don't care about all that. Their mom and dad just want them to go to a private school to have that label, excuse me, over them, right? So they say, well, my kid went to this, elite school and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, the kid doesn't even care. He just, he's just going through the motions.
That's it. He's going through the motions, wants to get by.
Yep.
When I taught at prison, I had students who were in the prestigious private school down the road from us growing up, Catholic school and stuff. So it don't matter what school you go to. You can either end up on the good side or bad side.
Yeah, no, totally. And I don't know, Ron didn't mention to you, but I was incarcerated, and that's how I got a certificate in automotive. And when I got out, I did 6 months stint in jail, and then through that, I got a certificate, and it gave me a foot in at a shop, and from there, I never looked back. And and that for me, that's a golden moment, and I seized it. And that's the thing is, like you're saying, if you give somebody something to do when they get out, they got success. If you give them the same stuff to do when they get out, they'll be back.
Yeah. No, I tell people all the time, like, because people complain, like, oh, I forget what the number. The problem is the number is like each prisoner or inmate in like Illinois, like $60,000 a year each inmate. But schools, it's like $30,000 a year each student. So people get all upset. I'm like, and they're like, oh, they shouldn't get free education. Blah. I'm like, trust me, you want them to have free education. Everybody should be getting free education. A, if you get them at the beginning of it, they may never even end up in prison. Mm-hmm. And B, if they are in prison, you get them the education, they don't come back. Like one of the guys, he was from Mexico, got in there, you got put in prison with El Chapo's drugs. And he's from Mexico, couldn't speak English, didn't have any education. He left prison with an education, a trade certificate, fluent in English. Now he's going to go back to Mexico, and since he could speak English, he could become a translator and make a really good living. Like, and that's the thing I can tell people, man, the prison, there's a golden opportunity to fix a lot of things right there just with a little education. And a lot of it can be in the trades. And the guys love it. Like I had guys who were inner city guys who, they never had room for like a table saw or miter saw or anything. But they're like, what? So if I just buy like a table saw, miter saw, and maybe a router, I could just build my own furniture for my house. Yeah, go nuts, man. Like, this is great. It was, they thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And so it's one of those things where there's a lot of guys, and to my knowledge, out of like the 100 students I had, 100 and some students, I know one messed up and came back. But to my knowledge, talking to people, I don't think any of my people have come back. And I've ran into some of my guys that's from Springfield, our state capital, is about half an hour away. Like I've ran into some of our guys like in Menards and stuff randomly, doing good and everything. Like, and I got one guy went back up to Aurora, which is up by Chicago area, west of Chicago. He called back when I was still working at the prison, and he had never done construction or anything. He was like foreman for like a deck building company, like within months after getting out and stuff. So yeah, education in prison, man, I'll preach it all day long. It's worth it. So worth it. And there's guys who are eager, they're hungry. Like they may not, they depending on their socioeconomic status before getting in prison, they may never had the opportunity, like, and depending on whether they did school, they opened their eyes. And heck, we built the guys that got to help build the house. They're like, well, a lot of times you get home arrest when you get out, right? So they had 6 months to a year, maybe they're just gonna be at home, like, oh, I can fix this, so now they can afford to get stuff done at home because they can do it themselves. And so yeah, I'll preach it all day long.
It's great. Also, I always want to make sure we don't put the category of like shop the guys or the people in the shop, they're not college bound or whatever. But I always tell people our area is application, right? So it's like Duke said, it's STEM, STEAM, industrial arts. You could call it anything you want, but it's basically application, right? So for instance, this guy reached out to me because he was trying to help get me involved in some NASA projects, like for students and whatnot. But he was in the motorcycle industry first. He was a tech, and while he was a tech, he was just into NASA. He's a bit of a wild character, but he's got it. He works on his own car. He's got his own stuff going. He races. He's got a couple of cars he races, and he was a tech first, and then he went to college for mechanical engineering. Got a job at NASA, and, doing wild stuff like this is their floating pool. This is like where they test out zero gravity. That down there, that can looking thing, that is a simulation of the International Space Station. And he said that, and this is his Miata, he said that the older generation there really appreciated that he knew how to make stuff. So it's not just crunching numbers, So when somebody uses their mind and their hand, this is an empowerment tool. So whether they end up as a plumber or they end up at NASA's research center, the sky's not even the limit. That's something that I feel like people are like, well, they're not going to college, so they got to go to shop class. And I'm like, what makes you think if they go to college that they're going to be any better than someone in shop class? I mean, it's just, so it's just an amazing thing. It's just an empowerment tool, an application. Whereas like the math classes, instead of teaching you just math problems, they should teach you how to solve a problem using math. Application. This is what we do, That's my little rant.
No, and it's good too, because a kid, the kids come out of certain schools and they're like, oh, I know this, I know this, I know this, but do you know how to fix yourself out of this? Like I tell everybody, a good painter is knowing how he works himself out of a mistake. Because, when you're in a booth painting, the clock is running. And the thing is errors happen, mistakes happen. And the thing is, if you can fix everything in the prep and get everything to where it's perfect and all you have to do is applicate, then you have the application process to deal with. And the thing is some of these kids that, I have all the brains, but the thing is the know-how, how to work through situations, real life scenarios is the biggest thing. That's, I teach people, and I try to teach people is that, what, you're going to F up, but you're going to learn from your F ups. If you don't, then the thing is you're going to keep repeating the same process until you do. It's a win or lose situation. There's no happy medium.
So let's shift gears a little bit. You sent me this article. You want to take us through this a little bit about your island customs?
Yeah. So with this, I went to the school and I was showing them UV. That's like the latest technology. It's like the same thing with the dental. They use the light, they cure your fillings and all that stuff. UV process is taken off with primers and body fillers. So we were going over some of the products that we have and let the kids be hands-on. I even had manufacturers help me, like I said, and supply them with stuff. We got the kids. We got them all sanding blocks from Big Kids Blocks, and they're acrylic sanding blocks. They actually have flex to them and stuff. But the thing is bringing in the latest technology to the kids so that when they walk out, they have even more knowledge than what current shops have. I have maybe 9 shops that are using UV, but these kids are already ahead of the other shops that are in our area because they have those skills, right? So this is them. I let them demo with my gun right here. I had Sada create my own Tiki logo on the gun. So while I was at SEMA, I went on the computer and I'm like, oh, hey, we can design this. So I was like, okay, so I bought it. So I ended up being the first guy in the US to make one through them. But long story short, there was a light mounted onto it. So, and they never tried it before. So here, I let them try it. You know, it's giving them the tools to success. And that's a huge thing.
There's a light on the gun?
There's a light. Yeah, I don't have it with me. It's at another shop, but basically it mounts onto this and illuminates. And it's from Luma 3, which is a company in Kansas. And it's two guys. They've created their own business with, they build the lights in-house for their guns. And then it's a big thing that a lot of the painters use. And I use it to see my blends and stuff. I'll turn off the booth lights. I can see how my metallic's orientating across the panel. Lighting, there's a lot of tools that we use that you'd be surprised that we have to have in a booth. Or just the color mats, we use color lights, with the sun. Yeah. That's basically the guys. They're on Instagram too. So
you know what? I want to reach out to them because I don't know. I mean, I want this on my MIG gun for welding. Because when you're welding in a dark thing, you want to be able to see what you're welding before. I mean, you could do the flip down, but you can also do auto dark. And if you have it and you don't have a light on it, and you're in a corner underneath a frame, you can't see what you're doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm old or something.
No. Or am I 1 inch off? Am I dead? Am I dead to rights that I'm going to put it right where it needs to be? Or am I going to shoot up, shoot it down? Right? No, I think it would be cool to talk to Kurt or Chris. Those would be the guys.
All right. I'm totally going to do that. Maybe it'll fit. Maybe it's the same size. It'll fit on the gun.
So they, like I said, they do all their own R&D and everything. So each spray gun is different, right? The size of the head and everything. So they have to develop the light to be able to mount on it. It works that, it runs on the air cap. So when the air cap screws on, it holds it to its face.
That's cool.
Again, that's, there's so much technology that, for you guys, you just want to learn the basics about a spray gun. For us, we want to start accommodating the extra stuff that helps our job easier, right? See how it has the light facing them? You can actually put the light, turn it to the panel. Some guys think it's unnecessary. It's an additional expense that I don't really need. The booth's lit enough. Some guys don't have that. I go into some shops and it's like a dungeon, and you got to paint in there, right? And the thing is if the color's transparent and you can't see it, and then you put clear coat on it. Once you put clear coat over your base, that's basically, I'm done. I put the shiny on it and it's going out. It should be all finished. If you have problems underneath the clear coat, you're done. You got to restart. You got to start all over.
Wow. This is, I don't know. It's going to sound silly, but like I see this and I get excited about trying painting. Like I've done it before, but I never, I don't have anything here to do it, but it would be cool to do. I always was like partial to cruiser bikes, and because you could do fenders and you could do all this stuff, and it's all like cheap because you could get a cruiser bike from the street, you could strip it down, and that would be so much fun to do. And then if you had really good tech, you could do these great metal flakes. And if you got, like, I see you do need this light that's on there is pretty interesting because then you're not guessing. The problem is with a beginner, it's very difficult. Like an expert could probably get a bad tool to work properly. But you know what I mean? It's almost like a welder that's not like a shitty welder. That's harder to use. You know what I mean? Even though it's cheaper. But the better tech, then you've all these adjustments, and then you can really dial it in, and it would be better for a beginner,
Totally. If your welder's offset, let's say you run out of gas, what are you going to have? You're just going to have a mess, right?
Right.
And it's the same thing. If you don't have the right tool, you can't get the right look or the right finish. And I know, Matt, you can probably vouch to that, in the carpentry, man. You start cutting stuff wrong, or, your gaps aren't fitting. It's, it's just like with the Tikis. Once you cut it, it's done. You can't put wood back. With metal, you can put the metal back,
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
That's funny. That's cool. That's great. You can see that. I'm gonna reach out to them. What's the guy's name?
There's Chris and Kurt.
Kurt. All right.
Those are the two guys. Yeah, and that car in there, they built their car that's going to be at SEMA. So I'm looking forward to seeing those guys over there.
I might go to SEMA. I went for the first time right before COVID. Oh my God, that's like, if you're a car guy, basically your jaw just goes, you just drop. Like they got the Hot Wheels life-size cars there. It's like out of control. That is a lot of fun.
I wish SEMA would do a thing. It would be called the Dream Build Giveaway, where you could walk in there and SEMA's going to pay for it, and you just walk through and you pick out everything you'd want to have a car built with. Motor, chassis, frame. I mean, you could even find the paint guys there, everything, you know what I mean? And just have the most one-off car. That would be the ultimate giveaway, but I don't think they'll ever do it. I try and make it $1 million car at least.
This was this is a video from SEMA, and this not going to show the whole thing, but just the start out of this is the kind of stuff you'd see over there. If I can get my computer to work. This is the intro. Now look at this.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this is just one car. How many cars are at SEMA? 5,000?
Yeah.
Like, this is just one example of an over-the-top like for just to see what a manufacturer or aftermarket company is capable of. That's like what, 3 or 4 superchargers in one. Here's a crazy paint job.
Yeah.
Just what you know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, they made it look like a barrel. And he's got the supercharger coming out there. It's just ridiculous. And he did the bumpers too. Lamborghini with an engine in the front, total custom. Here's the Hot Wheels cars. Unbelievable. Anyway, yeah, those are cool. So, all right, cool, man. This is really good. I feel like this is a good overview. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, sometimes I run out of questions, but this was excellent. I appreciate you coming on the show. Sometimes it's almost good to we kill the recording and then the after party, we just kind of hang out for a minute and talk is almost better, but there's no way to get to that without killing the recording. So it's funny.
No, I appreciate this. You're asking a lot of questions. We got kind of steered off on stuff, but if you ever want me back on, yeah, definitely. There's so much to learn with paint. I know that we only just kind of scratched the surface, but for the other guys, what my day-to-day job is that I go out. I either do fire calls if they have problems with a color or that their repair situation. There's some stuff we do consulting, but we also do hands-on training, or we help guys with certain color match, because some shops paint a car and the color's so far off that we just can't get it. But luckily we have a camera and that gives us a reading, so it helps us. To the other stuff is that teach the guys the computer programs, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of application stuff, and new products. So, and I worked with Lord Fusor, which all your adhesives, metal bonding, and all that stuff, structural repairs. There's a lot of different stuff that my day-to-day job consumes of. I'm a master of, the jack of all, but a master of none. And I tell everybody that, basically I'm not the greatest painter in the world. I just know what I need to do, and I follow my TDS or my repair procedures to make me have a good outcome. And, I try not to cheat and try to play it by the book, and I always have great success.
That's awesome. So is there anything you want to promote? How do we find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram. I don't really have, our business isn't really, we're just a WD. So we're just a wholesale distributor here to the body shops only for Island Concepts. But my Instagram is Island Custom Concepts, and custom with a K. That's how you guys can find me. There'll be a, it has a green Tiki. That's my icon logo. Pull it up. Yeah, right there. I'm on Facebook, but I just link Instagram to Facebook. So in case people wanted to follow me and they don't have Instagram, they can see me on Facebook. But I really don't pay too much attention to that. But, I will say the social media has really been a gateway of support, knowledge. Believe it or not, I talk to painters all around the world and give them tech support and advice. We can get on the phone and we can FaceTime each other, screen time each other. I can see what's going on in a guy that's having an issue in the Netherlands. I talked to a guy in Norway. I helped a painter out in New Jersey. He was having some color issues, and then he had a problem with his computer, and I walked him through it. I feel it's a good, healthy platform. I use it for education and support. You had Tiffany on there. I really like what she's doing with women in the industry. I think that's a whole nother topic that we can talk about. And I would like to see more women in our industry. There's just so much stuff that Instagram can provide. I mean, yeah, it gives us a lot of social time, but I find I get a lot of deep conversations with people and get to really know some cultures around the world, which I really love, and people want to learn a lot about Hawaii, which is cool too. And so I like sharing, my day-to-day drive. I mean, like I said, I spend about 35 minutes just right on the coastline, and it's all sunrises in the morning. And, if I come home at a certain time, I can get sunsets, but I like sharing all that too with people. So yeah, you can see my storyboards.
Mm-hmm.
Todd, are you selling any of those tikis? I want to get one for my classroom.
I can get you the small ones. I've been going over to the guys at Ohana Creations. Those are the guys that are teaching me how to do the tikis, but that's the next thing is I want to make my own. But yeah, they're like $30-$40. I can get you a little tiki if you want, and I'll mail it out to you. That's not a problem.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, count me in too. That's great.
Yeah.
I'll go on.
And
I
try to do giveaways. I did a big 5K giveaway. I'm like, okay, I'll do another one, but I'm gonna wait till 10K and do a big giveaway. But I've been slowly getting to 10K. I thought it was gonna move a little bit quicker, but for me, it's not about the followers. It's about the content and the community that we share. It's not about numbers or any of that stuff for me. I like to just post stuff that's cool and what I think other people would like to see, and tech tips and other stuff that might be useful, as well as I like to follow those kind of people too.
How about the hats? You have the hats for sale?
Yeah, the hats I have. Yeah. So
Are they on your website?
No, just DM me and you can just PayPal me and we can just go that route.
All right.
No, so in the US I sell them, they're about $25. Hopefully it should cover shipping depending on where you're at in the US. And I do that. I'm waiting on t-shirts. I got the big banners. I don't know if you can see it. I got these big banners now.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I met up with another guy, and he turned me on to those. So, I mean, I like to brand myself a little bit, but I'm not about trying to just, make money on it. I just cover my in and the shipping.
I just want to cover my head.
Yeah. We can do that, and I'd love to send you guys all stickers. I give everybody stickers free. And
Nice.
they're all over the world.
Todd.
I mean, all over Spain, Mexico, Brazil. I don't know if you've seen, but over here, let's see. Can you see the piston faces? Here, I'll show you one. So that's a big thing I've been collecting lately too, is the piston faces. So,
piston face. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So this is out of the Netherlands. This is from a guy, Donkers. But yeah, this is a big diesel piston. But
Holy
they're really
look at the size of that thing.
Yeah. Oh, look it. Hold on.
That is awesome.
Oh, that is awesome.
This is cool. Oh man, this is good stuff.
Okay, hold on.
BJ's into this a little bit. He makes like
Okay.
furniture out of car parts.
Oh,
So this is from a shovelhead Harley, right?
whoa.
Okay. Now look at that. This is out of some diesel. I don't know what it is, but it's all
My
geared.
God.
Yeah, he made me the evil clown. This is Piston Face. He's out of Oregon. And then the same guy that made me the Tiki one, I asked him, hey, can you make it a Tiki? He goes, yeah. I've been seeing that he's making these piston grenades. And so I had him make me one of these with the pin and everything. And he's out of the Netherlands.
What
And he's a great guy.
is that? A chain on the end there?
No, yeah, it's a chain, and then it's got bullets. He showed me the video that when he was shooting all the bullets. He had to go, he had to go get empty cartridges.
Yeah, you're gonna make your product.
Yeah. And so it's trans parts. I guess it's a lot of trans parts with the piston. I don't know what the piston is. But
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, he's
with
got.
the wheel bearings.
Wow, that is so cool.
And then the other one, the guy from Brazil, they all have their own style. So this is Alex Metal, and he made me this, and look at what he made.
Oh yeah.
A little Tiki in it, right? I was blown away.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So is it inlaid there?
The Tiki, well, this is like, I don't know if it's metal. I think it's like ceramic almost.
And what about is that lasered? How does he car?
Yeah,
how does he-
Dremels. I know he Dremels it.
Wow. I'm trying to not make noise, but I want to be like, wow, this is amazing. You know, the recording, if you're talking, it'll record the screen. So describe it. Is that a spark plug sitting there?
Yeah. With the bottle opener. But yeah, so it's like this is my addiction, is collecting cool artwork from people around the world. So I know you're into welding, right? So there's another guy that made me.
Wow.
And then
Oh,
Marlene
that's
pinstriped
welded.
it.
It's
And then I
pinstripe. Wow, that is that's what is that, stainless and then polish?
Yeah, stainless and polished. But it's just cool. And these are people that I met on Instagram. And have made stuff.
Wow. Wow. Describe it, because then the camera goes to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you gotta make noise.
It has basically it's a custom culture. It's a guy out of Japan, and he did to show homage to his work. He did this for me. A welder, Oakley welder, in he's in the Midwest. But anyways, it's all stainless that he welded.
Amazing. Amazing.
So yeah, it's and for me, I want to support the artists, right? It's I'm an artist. People, they buy our masks. Me and a buddy, we've been doing a bunch of masks. He started it, and he's like, once he started seeing me doing other stuff, he's like, this is cool. So it's been a cool relationship. So we do these masks. Some of them we give them away, but some people buy them. And and it's a good thing. He's a tattoo artist that also does pinstriping. So that's the next leap that I want to get into, is pinstriping. And then if I can paint, I can pinstripe, and then get into airbrushing. That's what you call a triple threat, because you can do all three things. And in the custom culture, usually you master one, and and Marlene, she's mastered all three. So that's and she's just great people. So I really like to interact with these people and just learn from them.
That's awesome. That's great. This is so inspiring. I can't believe I'm in New Jersey and I'm talking to you. You're inspiring me for custom car stuff in Hawaii. This is amazing.
It's one of the positives of COVID.
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally. Like people reaching out and not waiting to reach out. They're like, okay, we need culture now. So
We're just developing this format where we can all talk together, and we are all over the place in the United States.
Yeah.
Todd, my last question.
Yeah, go for it.
Around Stroudsburg, I have hiring now. We're hiring signs all over the place. What's the job market like in Hawaii? I got a guy that's really interested about moving out there. He's been talking my ear off.
What is he looking at? What kind of work?
Anything. He's a terrazzo floor guy, but he's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, it's me.
Well, I mean, flooring construction's actually been really hot and it's booming here. The median price of a house here is $1 million, right?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. Yeah.
All BJ needs is a yurt.
Go ahead. What was that, Duke?
All BJ needs is a yurt. He lived in a one-room shack with an outhouse.
It's rent's expensive. Everything, it gets up there. So I tell everybody, if you can get over to sticker shock, then you can handle it here. I advise you to comb Craigslist and look for places, and then look, if you want to see, how much does it cost? Look at restaurants so you can see how much it costs to eat there, right? So, you can look at different places on the island where you want to live. You can see how much it's going to cost you to live, and then you can look on the job market and see how much jobs are paying. Because then you can come to a consensus and then make a trip out here and see it for yourself.
Yeah, I've been out there twice. I have been out there twice.
nice.
So I'll tell you,
Yeah.
this is what I did, is I brought my fiance out here, and she's like, we got to live out here. She's half Portuguese, half Samoan. She lived in the Bay Area, and she goes, I don't understand why my dad didn't bring us out here and live. I lived here and then went back for 20 years, and then the economy tanked in 2010. And I says, you know what? We can come back here. I put everything in an 8x20 container ship and shipped 2 cars and moved here on a whim. And a couple of years later, we have a house not far from the ocean, and I have a great job, and I've been here for the last 10 years. So don't be discouraged that you just can't leave where you're going and go to a new place and start your life over. You can. It's just a matter of putting your best foot forward.
Get my suit and go.
Yeah, bring your shorts and you're good.
Probably just a bag would work. I don't even need a suitcase.
Yeah. I put all my tools and stuff because I knew that's what I need to be successful, right? And I started in a shop, just in a hole-in-the-wall shop, and got my feet in the ground. And then I found this tech job. And I told somebody in California, I says, you know what? He's like, what are you going to do over there? Well, hopefully I'll be a tech rep. He goes, oh, you'll never survive. They're ruthless over there and this and that. And you know what? I mean, in a matter of 8 months, I got the job and I love it. So, and my customers love me. And that's a huge inspiration for me, is that, it's something that I said I wanted to do and I got it. So.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And BJ, there's motorcycles laying on the side of the road. Just pick one up and go.
I gotta send you the terrazzo episode we did with BJ. It was a trip, man. You want to learn about terrazzo floors, and it's especially if you're into the metal flake thing. I'll have to find it. That was a good one. We were like mesmerized. We still talk about that one, BJ. You put us into like a swirl. We weren't even conscious. We were just inside of the process of how to make terrazzo floors. It was crazy.
And once you see one terrazzo floor, you notice them all the time. You're like, there it is, terrazzo flooring.
That's
I'm gonna
so cool.
find it.
I did flooring with my wife's dad for a little while, and it's brutal. It's hard work. You know, I tip my hat to you. It's not easy. And plus the prep work and everything you got to do. I bet you walk in some place and you go, oh my God, this is just a horrible floor.
Yeah, there's a lot of prep work with it. There's not a lot of terrazzo in Hawaii, though.
No, it's to think of it. No, there was that stuff that people were putting. I remember it's like almost like a rock base, and it's like it's all glued. And they're doing a lot of sidewalks, a lot of outdoor stuff, but nothing really of a flooring like you were showing.
Yeah, some of it is outdoor. It's like a rustic terrazzo, exposed aggregate.
Okay, it just looks like it's just a lot of. To be honest, it looks like a Rice Krispie treat. That's just a sidewalk. That's kind of the look that it has with all the rock just kind of just bonded. It's not like it's just thick. It's real airy, and you can see, you know, through the rock.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the only stuff that I really see out here, but nothing of like you're saying.
Yeah, I've seen some terrazzo there. I'm trying to think where, though. I can't. In Oahu there's more than the other islands. I haven't seen any.
A lot of homes, you know, there's a lot of exotic homes. So I mean, it could be in homes too. Most of them are a lot of wood, a lot of tile. Now they're building a lot of condos. That's the big thing right now is these high-end buildings. There's some that have like a $35 million penthouse with another $35 million penthouse above that. You know, and it's apartment, you know, you can buy an apartment for almost $500,000. That's how high they're getting up to now. And some, I mean, that's the cheapest, I should say. But most of them that you see are selling at around $700,000, $800,000 for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom studio apartments. And I mean, I don't
Pretty
know how
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess on the Big Island, it's a little bit cheaper, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's more affordable, but
Yeah.
it's not as populated too. So the thing is the what would you want to say um the lifestyle is more relaxed, more open, more country. Oahu is more city, more busy, more bussing with work and life. But the thing is, we have a lot more traffic and stuff. There's more amenities here, I should say. On the Big Island, there's more open land. You know, there's not a lot of buildings out there either. That's the funny part.
Yeah, I'm used to more open land.
Where are you at, BJ?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in a rural area. There's not much around me.
The guy that makes my hats is from Pennsylvania. Happy Embroideries, and he lives on a big property, and he's redoing their house. But I mean, I was like blown away that he showed me. It's one of those homes where he probably has 200 acres, so there's other homes on it, and I was just like, wow.
Wow.
For me, I live on 2,900 square feet. That's my property.
Yeah. But you got the ocean and the beach right there.
Yeah, I got the ocean view. You know, I got a small piece of paradise.
Speaking of Hawaii and whatnot, I got a buddy in the Rancho Cucamonga area from LA area, and Jehu Garcia. He does conversions of VW vans, and he changes them into electric. But he's not just doing one anymore. He's making a fleet. And the idea, this was his dream. He wants to bring them over to Hawaii so he can rent them out. Because when you come to Hawaii as a tourist and then you rent a modern day car, he says it kills the experience. You want to rent an old hippie 60s VW van with a custom paint job.
Yeah.
And so he's going to convert these vans to electric so there's no noise and it's nice and, you know, it's cruises down the street and they got high performance, you know, motors in them and stuff. So this is something he's working on. We'll see if it comes through. Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to kill the recording, but that was really good. So thanks for joining us, Todd. This has been excellent. I think you've got to come back. Maybe we'll have you back for an episode. Maybe we'll do a tech one or something. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll do something.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks so much. All right, I'm going to kill it here. Shop Class Podcast every Wednesday. And we're on Instagram, and you know where to find us. All right.
Aloha, everybody.
Cool.